Hey there everyone, Ryan Nordahl here, Epic Whitetail Habitat. We're about to do some hinge cutting, so come on along. Okay, so what we got here this afternoon is we got this small little micro plot of clover and chicory up here. It's been a good little plot, especially now this year. We've had some good bucks showing up in this plot. Again, deer transition down this fence line on the neighbors from an oak ridge. Transition through here. We did notice that there were some beds in here. We got in here earlier this morning too, and we really scouted out this bedding area. One thing we found though is without this edge timber falling over, we don't really have a good screen in here later in the season that we get. So what we're going to do here this afternoon is we're going to take some of these trees, these are white ash trees, and we're going to tip them out here, edge feather this, give us a little bit more of a screening wall out here. Plus, those deer, when they're bedded back in here, can't see out here. They can't see me getting into this stand because I can get in here either early in the morning or for an afternoon hunt. But those deer, if they're in here, they can see me. Now we're going to break up that sight line so they can't see getting in here. They can't see what's out here from just sitting back. It'll entice them, increase their curiosity to come out here, poke out into the plot. You can see the mock scrape that I've got set up here. They've actually been working it. There's another little scrape tree over here, and then this buckthorn back behind they were scraping too this year. So we had some good activity. There's a cedar back in here that's probably about 6 to 8 inches around that's just rubbed like crazy. It's up about 4.5 feet, so that tells me that more than likely that it was probably droppy, one of the bucks that we were hunting here this fall. So we're going to get to work here. I'm excited. It's the first hinge cutting of the season, the 2024-2025 season that I'll be doing, and I'll be doing it here on my home property. So come along, see what we're doing. And we get back in here. You can see this bed right here. Look at that rub. That's about a 6 to 7 inch diameter cedar, red cedar. I mean, that thing, flip this around here. You know, I'm 6'2". I'm standing straight, tall. My elbow or my arm is straight out here. It's about 4.5 feet. I can guarantee that that was more than likely not. It was more than likely, I should say, droppy. It could have been daggers, and it could have been the big 8, but more likely than not, it was probably droppy. That's a really good rub. I love to see that. There's several throughout this small little property, and I love seeing that. You know, we've come a long ways in 8 years, and I absolutely love the way this last season was here. We didn't get anything here yet. We still got late season bow hunting to go through, but what we've accomplished here in the last 8 years, yeah, it's taken me that long. Just situation. I mean, we're constantly learning this property, and we've taken a lot more serious here in the last couple of years. Hunting all our other properties, you know, family farm and the proving grounds, 80 there, and then back behind my parents' house, just really concentrating our efforts on those properties. This is setting up great. I think in the next couple of years here, it's going to be pretty special. So glad you're joining me along here. So we'll get back to work. So this is where I like to have my little handsaw along, and there's a line of movement right here. There's a trail that comes out from that cedar and the white pine back here. And these little branches, yeah, a deer can make a new line of movement, but it's currently here already. I want to open it up, get these little branches off. You know, I could do it with a chainsaw, but it's just as fast to do it this way as well. Come out of the way. There. Now that path is open. What happens if it snows and that collapses? Well, we just cut it out of the way. Well, Ryan, you just blocked off anywhere a deer can step out. They could step out anywhere into that. I don't want that. I don't want them to step out anywhere. I want to predict where they're going to come out. I want to tell the deer where they're going to pop into this microplot. They can come up around out of this way. Then that'll give me, because the stand is right over here, 18 yards. It'll give me a good broadside shot. They come down through here. Boom, right here to the mock scrape. We're gonna actually move this a little bit. I'll probably get rid of this tree. We'll move this mock scrape out, because now here's our other corridor. We move it out back here, they're gonna hit that mock scrape when they come out, or they come down through the microplot here from coming up around to the east side there. Predictability instead of randomness throughout here. Yeah, it's close proximity here already, but it's predictability, and we're positioning the deer how we want them to be to make a good ethical shot, putting them broadside. We're telling the deer where to be when we want them to be there. So the other thing I wanted to share too is I'm down here on my knees, and we'll get up here. As you can see, it's only about waist high right here. You know, my cuts range from knee high on myself up to maybe the lower part of my ribs. I'm 6'2", like I've said earlier, and I want any successional growth that comes off of these stumps to be at deer level. You don't need to make a cut way up above your head. Maybe to clear some branches or whatever in a position that you've got great control of your saw. But when it comes to actually felling a tree via hinge cutting, there's no need to be any higher. There's no need to be reaching up above your head, anything like that. I know there's probably some guys on YouTube that you probably have seen making those cuts. Myself, I won't attempt to do that. If they want to do it, that's just fine. It doesn't affect me or anything. I suggest that you don't try it yourself. If you're going to try hinge cutting on your own, keep them manageable. You know, knee high to waist high is probably adequate enough. You want to keep that successional growth at deer level. I mean, the reason I see most guys doing that is they want to create that false canopy above a deer's head. And you know, you've heard me say it before in other videos. I think deer relate to that overhead canopy at certain times, especially during adverse weather conditions, but not all the time. The main purpose behind hinge cutting is to get browse instantly in front of a deer's nose. Hack and squirt, I'm not a fan of hack and squirt. And why is that? I don't want random dead trees, limbs, whatever, just falling wherever they fall and whenever they fall. I don't want to be walking through the woods through a patch of timber that I hack and squirt, and then all of a sudden something falls on me, something falls on a deer, something falls on another critter some kind, and it's just falling randomly wherever it's going to fall. And dead trees look ugly. They simply do from an aesthetic standpoint. Yeah, this looks ugly, but I tell you what, I'll guarantee that this, especially with the type of trees that we've hinge cut here today, is going to be green come next summer. It's going to look a lot more beautiful, that emerald green, than a dead tree standing in the air. Plus, I positioned these trees exactly where I wanted them to be. I put these trees exactly where I wanted them to be, where they needed to be. They're small enough, I could do it. If they were a little bit larger trees, I wouldn't attempt it. I'd never fight tree lean. But with as small as these trees are, especially leaning already the way I wanted them to lean anyway, due to the position of the sun, the southern sky being that way, I put these trees exactly where I want them to be. They're going to stay alive. They're going to produce a ton of browse forage in the years to come. But that's just me. You know, what do I know? I've only been doing it for how long now? I don't see that to be cocky. I just say it because of the experience I've had with it and the results I've had from it and the results I've produced for clients as well. So take it or leave it. Some people don't like it, and hey, to each their own. I'm okay with that. All right, so you heard me say this probably a million times, and chances are it's not going to kill you. But accidents happen. They can happen in a split second. And you're going to find me in these videos, especially when it comes to hinge cutting. You're going to find me repeating myself over and over again because I can't emphasize it enough. And I don't think other habitat managers that do hinge cutting, any type of chainsaw work, we can't stress enough safety. You know, the helmet, the chaps, you know, ear protection, face protection, eye protection. Even if I wasn't wearing glasses, I'd still have safety glasses on, even though I have a face shield. Guys, I've had stuff fly up in between the face shield and my face, you know, and hit my glasses, and thank God I had my glasses on or a pair of safety glasses. You can't be overcautious. And the other thing that really disturbs me, and it should disturb you too, is taking an angled cut. Never take an angled cut when you're doing this. Even if you're doing a face cut and your back cut is angled, never do that. That thing can kick back like crazy. I mean, it can kick back at any time, but you're setting yourself up for disaster. You take that angled cut down on your back cut. Never do that. Always be as parallel as you can be to the ground. And number one, it's more efficient to be parallel to the ground. You're taking an angle cut, you're cutting through a lot more wood to get it. And I know why guys do it. I've been told, you know, I've been told and explained to why guys do that when I see it on their properties. And they're trying to get that angle cut to be able to fall the tree. And you can do it. They're trying to do it without the proper toolage is what they're trying to do. And you got to take it level. I may have cut these a little bit too far. Oh well, some of the smaller trees though I had good success with. You know, like this one here, he's gonna live. I can show you others throughout here that I've done in the past where they're living and they're thriving. Everybody says hinge cut trees, you know, they'll die within 2 to 3 years. And for the most part, and depending on the species, it's probably true. Up here with this ash that I've been cutting, these box elders that I've been cutting, I've been getting quite a few of them, probably 60 to 70%, maybe even 80% of them to stay alive. It all depends on the species of trees, of course. But it's working here. It's a project that works. We're getting deer to bed here. There's no timber value in any of this that I'm cutting here. A lot of these ash trees are going to end up dying anyway due to emerald ash borer, and we've had a few of them die already. No timber value in box elder whatsoever, but it does have great deer value. I cannot stress that enough. Box elder being part of the maple family, succulent shoots, throw out a lot of shoots. Great tree to hinge cut. You got to be careful though. The older they get, they will hollow out, kind of like an ironwood. The older they get, the more they tend to hollow out. So you got to be careful, and you got to know what to look for, and it comes through experience. So I'm not telling any of you to go out and just start hinge cutting, especially if you've never done it before, know what to look for, anything like that. I've done enough of it. I've been hinge cutting now for well over 10 years. Started out with just a simple handsaw, doing practice that way, tackling smaller trees. Once I got into a chainsaw, felt comfortable with it, and you begin to learn what to look for. And yes, hinge cutting is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. A lot of you people that see people hinge cutting, I mean, you can get killed by face cutting a tree and, you know, dropping it the traditional way. You just never know when it's going to happen. I guess I don't like to brag or anything because, you know, I thank the good Lord every day that I have a safe and successful hinge cut. But it can happen at any time, no matter how you're falling a tree. And it is highly dangerous. So if you feel the least bit of hesitation, don't really know what you're doing, leave it to the professionals such as myself. And there's other habitat managers out there, you know, creek bottom land management over in Fond du Lac country, Purposefield, up in Minnesota, and just to name a few, you know, Jake Ellinger, the big names, Jake Ellinger, Randy Vanderveen, Jim Brocker, my good friend Colin Koskinen over in Michigan. You know, leave it to guys like us. You know, I guess you could get out of bed in the morning, slip on a banana peel, and your life would be over too. It's just a chance I'm willing to take, and it's well worth the effort. Oh, it's a hell of a price to pay for just a deer. Yeah, but you know, we take risks every day. You know, every single one of us getting out of bed in the morning, you know, that's a risk in itself. So it's all about the risk you're willing to take. I like instant cover, instant browse on the ground right now in an attempt to keep these trees alive. The trees that I'm cutting here today are going to stay alive. They're going to produce a lot more shoots and stuff. Well, what happens, you know, you hear a lot of other habitat managers that don't like hinge cutting. What happens when those whips get up out of the reach of the deer? It's like anything you do. If you do TSI work, you still got to go back in, you know, in the succeeding years and maintain that as well. Anything you do, you have to maintain. Even when it comes to food plots, you have to maintain it. All the work you do, you know, your shooting lanes ain't a one and done thing either. You still got to go back in and do that. But this is what we're working on here today on our own home property. I've done it for many other people around the state of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Missouri, Michigan, Kentucky, Vermont, New York, Illinois, Indiana, getting into Iowa now doing some of this, and it's built a lot of great relationships for me. I don't like tooting my own horn. It's very humbling to see where I've come in the last 10 years as far as building this business, and in the last 15 years really as far as when I started, and you know, the family and friends I was doing all this work for. So yes, I do know what I'm doing. I've been very fortunate that nothing major has ever happened to me. You know, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter if I'm face cutting or hinge cutting a tree to fall it. There's danger in everything we do. And really, you got to know what you're doing. And if you feel the least bit of hesitation, just don't do it. You know, if you've never hinge cut before, I recommend you don't do it. And I encourage you to come along. If you hire me to come out to your property, I don't know anybody, any habitat managers that don't encourage their clients to come along to see what they're doing, to see what it's all about, and to participate. At least push, you know, use the habitat hook from Nations Creations to help guys tip the trees when necessary, and just watch, learn, and observe what they're doing. This is all about education, you know, and hopefully you've seen me at work here in this video. I know it's getting a little long, I get a little long-winded, but I'm passionate about this. I love doing it, and I love helping my clients that I recommend hinge cutting to perform the act of it as well. So guys, I hope you found this video educational and learned something from it. That's all I want. And guys, good luck. Good luck with your habitat projects. You know, if you're still out there hunting, good luck to you. I know I'm going to be doing a little late season bow hunting here. We're, you know, right here now in the beginning of December. We got a nice 40-45 degree day, so it's a great day to be hinge cutting. And yeah, good luck to you all. Keep living the dream, and God bless you all. Thanks.